We're going to be drawing a bald eagle today. So gather up your colors. You can use markers, crayons, colored pencils, whatever you have to work with, and a sheet of paper, and get right back. When I start drawing my bald eagle, I'm going to start with his hooked beak, all right? And it's hooked so that he can tear into his prey, all right? So we're going to start with just a little curved line going down. So that's going to be the beginning, just a little curved line going down. And then I'm going to let this point out and come back over, all right? So that's the beginning of my beak. This is the top of the beak. I'm going to connect the top to the bottom. And now I want to get the bottom of the beak part. So it's kind of like a little smiley face. Don't start right at the point, come up just a little bit, and you're going to come over and you're going to let that go on up and join where the top beak and the bottom beak meet together. All right. Next, we're going to be doing the head. And the head is going to kind of sort of look like a candy cane to start with. You're going to start right in sort of the middle of that beak shape. And you're going to come up and curve around and come on back down. And you can see sort of my candy cane, my upside down J look. All right. I'm going to jump over top of the beak and I'm going to come down just a little bit. And then I'm going to join these two together kind of with a zigzaggedy line for his little ball head. All right. Now, you can either put in one eye, and in this one right here where I'm just drawing, you can see he has one eye. In my example that I colored, I put two lines. And notice that I have them a little bit offset. I don't have them directly in the center. That's called a 3/4 view. So I'm just seeing part of that other eye. So you can decide how you want to do that. I'm going to put just an eyeball. And then I'm going to give him, because I want him to look a little bit stern, so I'm going to give him sort of a curvy little eyebrow, like he's what's up kind of look. And again, if you want a partial eye on the other side, and again, I can put my curve line over there. It's a little bit further away, so I made it a little bit smaller. All right, so that's something else that you can think of. The next thing I'm going to be drawing is my eagle's body. I'm just going to draw the body. And again, it's just like a U shape. So I'm going to start at the head, and I'm going to come on down and fatten him up. And you can make him as fat or skinny as you would like. That is going to be his body. And then in the front, I want to put the beginning of his legs, his thighs. So I'm going to use sort of like a parenthesis kind of look. And I'm going to be putting two of them. This is the top of his thigh area. And we're going to be coloring that in. And I'll make that sort of a solid brown so it can show up. If you prefer, you can fill it in with little feathers. And all of this later will be filled in with feathers. And I'll show you that in just a few moments. So I'll come back to that. In the meantime, I want to finish up the leg. So where I put the parentheses, that's like the thigh part, the meat part of his leg. And now I want to put his eagle talons. The talons are the claw part, all right? The talons, I'm just going to come back down, and then I'm going to put some claws on the end points, and you can do them different ways. And let me just grab a scrap sheet of paper. So you can bring your claws down, and you can just put claw feet on the end of them. I'm going to actually bring mine down and fatten them up, all right? But you get to decide which way you like it best. And again, like I said, I'm going to be fattening mine up and a little tiny claw on the back. And again, I want to come down with this side and give him three little toes and then another big claw in the back. So those are going to be my talons. All right, and I'll show you how I'm going to color those in just a moment. And the next thing I need to do is think about the wings. Now, notice on this one, I let that wing go right off the edge of the paper. All right, and actually I let the tip of this one go off. So if we had turned our paper this way, we might have had more room for that. But I don't have to draw him with his wings sticking out. I could have his wings just simply coming down by his side. So if you would like, maybe you want to have his wings coming more down to the side, or maybe you want him coming up with the wing tips coming over. Now, if I do that, I also want to get some wing tips on this one right on the edge. And then I'm going to fill in then my wing pattern coming by. And I'm just going to add in my pattern for my wings, for my feathers. And he's sitting down. Now, notice in this one, when I was drawing my pattern, all right, again, I came out with a curve line when I'm making them big and just bumpity, 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 bumpity all the way around. And then what I did is I put this like little wiggle lines for the rows of my feathers. All right, and you could put as many of these little wiggle rows as you would like. And then I just sort of joined it all together. All right. So again, you can make his wings down by the side. You could put them up. That's a choice for you to make. All right. Now, in this one, did you notice I actually put in the tail feathers back here? And notice in this guy, I didn't do that. So I'm thinking his tail feathers would be in the back behind his body. So you can decide whether or not you want to have those tail feathers showing up from underneath this one. Now I've got my tail feathers showing up from underneath, or whether you would prefer them not to be there. So another choice for you to make when you're drawing. All right, so let's talk a little bit how I would color this guy. You can make his eye color, whatever you color you choose. I chose to make mine green here. I'm going to make his green eyes too. So that's a real easy choice for me to make. You could have made him blue or purple eyes if you wanted to be a little creative or a little silly. You can decide that. All right, for the beak color, I'm going to use a yellow or gold or an orange kind of color for my beak. I'm going to go ahead and choose this yellow color. Now, I'm letting my brown mix in, makes it a more golden color as I'm mixing my yellow and my brown together, but it kind of dirties up my marker. So in the beginning, my marker is going to be a little bit ugly till I get that brownish part away, and then I'm back to yellow again. Just be careful then if you don't like your colors getting mixed. You might not want to do that. You might want to be careful where you're coloring. All right, now the head of a bald eagle is basically white, so I'm going to leave this guy white, and I'm going to continue working on his body feathers. And I could either do my feathers this way, bumpity, 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 or you could just put a bunch of little dash lines in there for the feathers. Now, as I'm doing his feathers, I don't want it just to be brown, and I'm going to use dash lines and come and cover up some of this too. Again, I don't want to get into the head area. All right, and I want to mix some colors together. So he's got sort of a golden brown, so I'm going to add some little gold stripes to it. And I'm probably going to add a little bit of orange as well too. All right, you could even add some black or some gray in there. And that's giving me my body feathers. All right, when I go to do my wing feathers, here we go. When I go to do my wing feathers, I am repeating these bumpity bump, these curve lines over and over. And you might even want to mix like your markers and your crayons, or your colored pencils and your crayons, or your colored pencils and you might want to mix things together. That's called mixed media. And artists do that a lot. They mix different materials together. And you can see how I'm kind of coloring him in. And let me go back and show you the original one. And you can see I'm coloring those in to get them in. And again, you can see where I just kind of repeated that bumpity, bumpity, bumpity as I'm putting in the wings. And there's my little dashed line. So I'm kind of changing that up. I do like this sort of more solid look into my thighs. It just makes it show up better. By all means, you can keep this bumpity, bumpity look, but I'm going to get them really, really close together so it shows, but just barely shows, or you can just color it all solid. It's really, really up to you. You can kind of see the difference in the look there. All right. When I go to do my talons, my claws, remember, all right, I'm going to put some little wrinkles in them, some little creases, and I'm going to do that with little curved lines. And I'm going to come down the foot and I'm going to go down the claws. Now you're going to notice in the original one, let me finish up my claws real fast. In the original ones, I actually put claw points on the end, and you could definitely do that by taking another color marker, and I'm just going to do one of them, and then on the end, like put a point out for a claw. All right, and again, I can do that to all of them or just one of them. How about I do one side and I won't do the other? You can decide what you like best. All right, and then I'll go ahead and color this in with my yellow, just like I did with my beak. All right, and in this one, I'm not going to worry about putting the actual claw in. I'm just going to color them so you can kind of see the difference between the two. So if you really want the claws to show up, you might want to emphasize. That means really pay attention to the claw tips. All right, so that's how we start decorating the body. All right, now in doing this eagle, all right, we can add all kinds of things to the background. So think about what you might want in your background. All right, the eagle is a symbol for American patriotism. It's a symbol for our country, the United States of America. And in here we have an olive branch. The olive branch is a symbol of peace. And then we have these arrows, and arrows is a symbol of strength. And part of that symbolism is that we are a great country because through strength we create peace. All right, and that's how that goes together. If you would like, you could put your eagle on a nest. You could put your eagle flying through the sky. You could put your eagle on a tree. I'm going to go ahead and put on these symbols. And I'm going to put in this claw coming out this side, I'm going to put an arrow. And I can do it again. Now, look, my arrows are kind of leaning. That's okay. I'm going to put one behind the other. You see how I jumped it underneath. On this one, I just have them going straight up. It's up to you. And then in the other side, I am going to put that olive branch. And basically, I just draw my branch, and then I just draw some rounded leaves for my olive branch. And if you want to, you can put some little olives on it too. It's just a basic olive branch, and that I would just color green. Okay. In my background, again, you can put the sky, you could put the mountains, you could put him in a zoo, you can make him go to school. He could be really silly. In my original piece, you notice I've got some fireworks in the background. So let's talk about fireworks real quickly. And then if you choose, you could add some fireworks to yours if you would like. All right. So an easy way to make a firework is I like to call these sort of like color bombs, is I like to put an explosion down. So just a round ball, and then I take another color and I let it explode all the way around it. And I just like scribble, scribble, scribble color all the way around it. And then I take another color and I make the explosion get bigger. So I color, 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 color all the way around it again. I just kind of scribble all the way around. And you can make these get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. It really doesn't matter. It can be a little skinny one. It can be a great big long one. It doesn't matter. These are just, I like to call them like color bombs. And that's what you can see that I did right here. I just put in some different types of color bombs. All right. I also have these sort of line fireworks. To do that, I just start with a little plus sign. All right. Now, the trick is not to let the next part of the explosion touch the plus sign. So in the space in between, I'm going to have 4 little lines shooting out. So you can see in between the blue lines, but not touching the blue line. I've got the orange shooting out because it's going to get bigger. All right. And then I take another color and it's going to be shooting out between the orange. So I'm going to go sort of between the orange and the blue and squirt it out of the line. Now look, it's not touching. And in between this blue and orange. And each time I do this, I let myself get wider and wider and wider. All right. And now I'm going to explode again. And this time in between those 2 darker purpley blue, I'm going to put 2 yellow lines. And look, this one's going to be jumping underneath. So I only see one of them. The other side would just barely be there. And this one might start to go underneath its head. Let me go one more so we can really start to see the overlapping. And this one went right off the edge of the paper. So let me try one more color. And then in between these yellow stripes, I'm going to put even more. And like I said, that one went off the paper. This one goes off the paper. This one's going to go under the head. That one might start from under the head. This one's going to go right up underneath. I might have 2 right there. So you can see how it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, those explosions. And again, I can put 2 more coming out from this side. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just approximately, the idea is that it's exploding, it's expanding, it's getting bigger. So that's another way to make an explosion or a firework. When I was a little girl, we would see lights go up and they would just be like circles, like we would call them boom balls. So we would see that big circle, big flash of light, and we knew in any second it was going to go boom. So you might want to write some onomatopoeia words. Onomatopoeia are sound words. So boom, bang, crash. Those are sound words that you might want to add to your picture into the background. All right. So there's just all kinds of ways. I can have one coming up and coming down and little sparkles coming off of it. And I just use little X's for my sparkle. All right. And we used to call these little waterfalls, fireworks. But you can decide how you like it best and put whatever kind of waterfalls you would like into the background. All right. So have some fun making some eagles today. And again, you design the background how you like it best. All right. So one last look at our original. Have a great day.